and welcome to my Kaiserreich live stream series with the German Empire. Now, I'd been meaning to actually start this a good deal earlier than I actually ended up doing, but I found out that the developers were planning on pushing out another update to it, and their big updates have a tendency to break certain things in your save games. Hopefully they don't have another major-ish one planned anytime soon. Because I know there is quite a significant one planned, but that's supposed to be at least a couple months off, which I'm hoping is long enough for me to finish a campaign. If it's not, then fuck it, I'll just deal with it. Anyways, this is the Hearts of Iron 4 version of Kaiserreich, which is the only version I play now because it's just so much better than the Darkest Hour version of the mod. Anyways, as you can see, I am playing as the German Empire. And since we have all of the DLC, there is fuel and things. Now, I have an intro video that I have posted on my YouTube channel for this series, which is basically me explaining some of the backstory stuff and sort of getting caught up. So, I am going to post a link to that intro video so you can go and watch it in case you want a bit of backstory and stuff for Kaiserreich lore and things, because I tried to do some explanation and reading and stuff. And I am going to do that here too, because I'm going to be reading the vast majority of the text early on, and even later I'll be reading most of it as well. But anyways, here you go. So, I'll just sort of give you a very brief overview of what's going on. Kaiserreich, for all three of you that don't know this, is an alternate history mod where the German Empire won the First World War. So, thanks to that and a bunch of other stuff, we take the place of the British as basically the largest empire in the world. And technically speaking, if you don't count like the Ottomans in Egypt and stuff, we are the world empire. Because Germany has the largest amount of territories of any country in the world, and we have a lot of countries as puppet states. There's the United Baltic Duchy, Lithuania, White Ruthenia, Belgium, now called Flanders Wallonia, Morocco, and most of Central and a bit of South Africa as well. We have all this under our control. Albeit, Mittleafrika down here, and all of these are our puppet states. In addition to that, there is German East Asia over here. Some bits and pieces of Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Malaysia, and what have you that are ours, as well as southern China. Which, speaking of which, if you're not aware of this, then I will just tell you, because I do sort of loosely keep up with the Kaiserreich dev diaries. Apparently in the next major update, the one that I mentioned is probably going to happen in a couple of months' time, apparently the AOG is being changed up a little bit, so it's not actually a German puppet that controls the entirety of southern China, and it's just generally kind of ridiculously overpowered in that way. And what they are going to get to keep is kind of going to be merged into German East Asia, so it's some more minor concessions rather than Germany magically manages to annex half of China because they decided to intervene in the Chinese Civil War because they were bored or something. And a bunch of this is just going to be divvied up to the various warlords, if I remember right. Anyways, that's the major things to talk about. Now, as Germany, as a result of all that, we start out in a position very similar to the one the British are in Vanilla Hearts of Iron, in that we have a lot of territories and therefore access to quite a significant number of resources. But the problem is that as a result of the whole sending a generation to die in the trenches of World War I thing, our population is not too eager to go into another war. Meaning our recruitable population and therefore manpower is stupidly tiny. And we're going to have to build that up and do a bunch of political reforms and things to get stuff in line and all. But we'll get to that later. And I can basically just ignore the insufficient resources until it gets up to like 8 of them. Because it'll just be a small debuff, I think. So now that I've got all my ramblings out of the way, it's time to actually get into the game. First, time to assign some research options. Option number 1, I will take mechanical computing, please. Then basic machine tools and construction level 1. And as you can see here, we have the rather lovely research tree for being able to make our own ships, which is quite nice. And now that the game has a ship designer in it, I do hope we get an aircraft designer eventually. That would be quite lovely. So, next thing we want to research, and we're not going to research any doctrines because we have a massive fucking penalty to that right now. I'm going to get 1918 weapons and equipment. I cannot pronounce that, so it's just basically machine guns, as far as I can tell. Next, we need to set our national focus. The German national focus tree is quite freaking massive, so this is not going to be something we get through quite quick, and Kaiserreich, I have to say, is doing an absolutely stellar job in just storming through giving us proper national focus trees for a lot of places, and overhauling some of the old ones that needed some work. So, there's quite a few things on here I'd like to go for at some point, but let's see, what do we want to pick first? State of the economy, I don't think so. Black Monday we can't do yet because we haven't had the actual Black Monday event take place in the game, which won't be too long, of course. So, for me, I think it's between Imperial restructuring, state of the economy, and finish the 1934 naval plan to just expand our fleet some more. So, this will just start giving us some events, as far as I know, that will make it easier to get more ships in our fleet. Which, I should mention, by the way, that while I played Kaiserreich quite a bit, and in fact, I would say at least 180 of my 250 odd hours in Hearts of Iron 4 are in Kaiserreich. So that should give you an idea of how much I've played this mod. But while I've played it a lot, I have never actually done a playthrough as Germany. So this is going to be something of a new experience for me. So if you have any tips or suggestions or anything, then please leave them for me. Also, if you happen to not be able to catch the streams or anything, or you just want to see it again after the fact, then I will be uploading this series in a more edited down form on my YouTube channel, rather. Yeah, YouTube channels. Anyways, I choose where I want to go with this. So, state of the economy. Get me some stuff where I can reform the economy a bit more. Let's see here. Imperial restructuring. Final reforms. Well, for the ability to change up our whole economic system that we get down the line for the aftermath of Black Monday, Imperial restructuring might be kind of nice. However, at the same time, one of the major enemies that we're actually going to be facing during the inevitable war is the Union of Britain. Meaning that it might actually benefit us to have a pretty significant navy available to us. On the other hand, that only takes 35 days, which is like half of what most stuff's gonna take. At least most vanilla stuff. Then again, the 35 days is basically what all these top ones take. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to finish the 1934 Navy plan. The Kaiserreich Marine stands unchallenged on any sea for now. The Union of Britain, the French Commune, the Americans, and the Japanese all jealously seek to catch up with us, and if left unchecked, our naval domination will end as quickly as it began. We should continue the large navy modernization project initiated back in 1934 to keep our fleet one step ahead of our rivals, which will give us the 1934 Naval Program event, and naval construction projects will begin, whatever that means. So we'll go for that. And I have one other decision available to me right now, which will let us essentially take control of our Far East Puppets Navy, and they'll become our ships, basically. I also have one more factory to distribute, and we have to set up our naval production for the dockyards. One more in close air support, I think. And let's see here. Come on, find me my thing. Something that's not Whelk Creek era ships, please. Or create variant. Yeah, sorry guys, but I've never really played around with the naval designer very much, so my experience in this area is limited, quite limited. Destroyers. Let's create a variant of the destroyer if we can. Or Actually, this is going to require naval experience, which we don't have yet. So I'll just start throwing things down, and then we can adapt them later down the line. Destroyers. And then cruisers. Heavy cruisers. Improved fast battleships. And heavy carriers. Now these I'll just sort of modify and have an appropriate loadout for what we're gonna want to have in here. Go. 15 now. There we go. Now my ships all need to be assigned to the appropriate fleets, and I'll probably change this later down the line. I just want to get them assigned. And for now, and then I can change it later to something a bit more optimal. I've never really been that good at optimizing my builds and stuff in Hearts of Iron, though, so you shouldn't really expect optimal setups or anything. I'm just more about enjoying things and the narrative and all that, more than anything else. That's a bit more than I really need to trade for. Portugal I can just get 8 from, so we'll go for that. At the moment, though, I still need to assign my army. What do we got in here? It's 30 divisions. I'm going to split up the army a bit. And assign people to be in charge, of course. Manny, you get that army. Yes, I call Eric von Manstein Manny. I blame Sorcerer Dave for that one. I totally blame him. You can take the Belgian front, I think. Manny. Four more. Walter, you can be in charge. Let's just hang out along the main French border. And I'm gonna have basically everyone, minus a small number, on the west, because that's where the major problems are going to arise. That said, I do want a small division of troops on the border with Lithuania. You guys can take the Lithuanian border. And if you're wondering why, well, the Lithuanians, our puppet state over in Lithuania, they have an unfortunate tendency, under certain circumstances, to, shall we say, revolt. And try to declare complete and utter independence. As for the Dutch, well, they have an unfortunate tendency to go communist. And I would very much like to be able to prevent that. Communist Dutch can be rather annoying, so I'd like to be able to invade them pronto-like. Now we'll just get all of our friends over here in what's just going to be our garrison forces set up properly so that the pop-up will stop bothering me and I can know when there's an actual need for me to pay attention to that. I'm going to just give them all garrison orders and leave them be. We're probably going to lose the odd colony or two because this is not a setup that has me paying a whole lot of attention to the territories. It's basically the way I play with the British in the vanilla game. Just set and forget with a lot of the colonies, since there's no reason to actually do anything with them. There, that's got those guys set up. I'll just rename this theater. Colonial garrisons. And this will be, in a very boringly named style, the European Theatre. Now we've got to give us a couple of field marshals. Runstead can be in charge of the western one.
Ihre Befehle? Ihre Befehle? Achtung!
Yep. So Arm 2, you can be under our friend over here. And that's you two. Speaking of, our Dutch army still needs an actual leader. So Witzelben, you can be in charge of them. And he can also take over those guys. Whereas this army here, the army of Lithuanian suppression. Yes, the army of Lithuanian suppression. Because that's what they're basically doing. They're there to make sure Lithuania doesn't rebel. They need a field marshal to be in command. Take that guy. It's not like you're going to be very important unless Lithuania actually revolts, after all. So, now, we got that. We got those three. And I can do a bit of building. I think I'll throw down a tiny bit of infrastructure, actually, before we start producing stupid numbers of military factories. Since, after all, we need to have the military infrastructure to fight a war. There we go. That'll do it. And I'm now going to chuck us up to 4 speed, and we'll get started. It's kind of a long wind-up, but this is Kaiserreich. What the hell do you expect? everyone's moving to their positions, which they'll do pretty quickly because it's a high game speed and all. And now we're up to needing more chromium. Ottoman Empire. You owe me for that last war. Trade with me, damn it. Yes, that's how we're going to conduct diplomacy, apparently. You owe me. Trade with us. The best form of diplomacy ever, obviously. And all of this is basically still the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The main thing is that it's separated up into a bunch of puppets. I'll get to that in a second, but basically, a bunch of ethnic disputes and stuff means that Austria-Hungary had some issues keeping order in their own country, and the way Germany set them up when they were called in to help was give everyone autonomy. Thank you, we're done here. Yep. Assassination of President Kerensky. Kerensky has been shot and killed while on the way to the Senate. The assailant was taken down by the police, but the goals and intentions of the attacker are unknown. Despite his massive unpopularity among the Russian people due to botched land reforms and ineffective rule, Kerensky was nevertheless able to hold the country together for years, and his death has thrown Russia into chaos. The senators are already discussing a possible replacement to Kerensky. New coalitions are being formed, both between the left and the right, while military men like Denikin, Wrangel, and Kornilov are just one step away from intervening to dissolve democracy and save, in inverted commas, Mother Russia. How barbaric. So yeah, that's one of the scripted events that basically always happens in Russia, is that Kerensky will be assassinated. And the Alash autonomy, you see here, they start as a puppet of Russia, but when that happens, Russia basically becomes so unstable that the Alash will declare independence. And that's how things start going into a giant mess with Russia. Now, let's see who Russia put in charge. Or have they not done that yet? Because they have basically an event they get to decide who will take power. And that'll be interesting because they can go in a bunch of different ways, and I've shown a few of those different ways myself on the channel. From actual democracy to military dictatorship to becoming Soviet Russia to restoring the monarchy. Russia can go in a bunch of crazy different directions. It's really kind of awesome, actually. Really, really is. And we're now out of manpower, unsurprisingly. The Constitution of the German Kaiserreich. After the crushing defeat of the Second French Empire by forces of the North German Confederation, our constitution was signed in 1871 by representatives of the Federation and 4 other states in southern Germany. The new constitutional framework integrated these southern states into the Prussian-led Federation, thus giving the enlarged entity a new identity as the Deutsches Reich. Fair warning, by the way, guys, I am not a native German speaker, and I cannot speak German. Therefore, all the German names and the like I'm probably going to butcher horribly, so you have been warned. According to the Constitution, the Empire is a federation of 25 German states. The title of Bundespräsidium, or Federation President, was held by the King of Prussia. figure now invested with the title of Emperor of Germany. The Emperor directly appoints the Chancellor, the head of government, and chairman of the Bundesrat, the Council of Representatives of the German states. Laws are enacted both by the Bundesrat and the Reichstag, the lower house Imperial Diet, elected by male Germans above the age of 25 years. An option to dissolve the Reichstag on a whim, it is clear that the main political power in the German Empire actually rests not in the Reichstag, elected by the people, but in the hands of the non-elected German Emperor. Another issue is the Prussian three-class voting system, which has remained mostly unchanged since 1849. Over 60 years after the founding of the Kaiserreich, liberals and social democrats are growing increasingly disgruntled with the status quo. Their constitution may need revision soon to help us weather the upcoming turbulence. The Constitution guarantees stability at the very least, and besides, these liberals and their reforms. What nonsense. The Empire has endured as it is for this long already, surely it'll be fine. The Totalist Charter. Mussolini, Valois, Beria, and other interested parties arrived in Birmingham today to discuss their common ground. It has been agreed that Maximism, Cyrillianism, and National Syndicalism all share basic principles of the state's primacy in the socialist struggle, the role of national identity within the state, and the importance of a strong central authority to preserve and build socialism. The Charter also claims the socialist state is the final stage of human development, and that democracy is not necessary to achieve socialism. These statements have drawn great criticisms from other socialist factions, gave the name totalism as a play on totalitarian socialism, which has been eagerly accepted by most leading candidates to the manifesto's name, attributing it to their total commitment to socialism. The people must reject this madness. Yeah, you should probably expect that this opening bit of this playthrough is going to have a lot of reading in it, because there's quite a few narrative-heavy events pretty early on that I feel like I need to read in order to add to things and stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be a thing. Edward VIII crowns King of Britain. George V, the last King of Great